When you think billionaire, what pops into your head? It's probably the big names, right? The flashy interviews, the private jets. But what if I told you there's a whole other class of the super rich? People who've totally mastered getting wealthy in silence. Let's dive into that world. All right, first up, let's talk about the kind of billionaire we all know. You know the one I'm talking about, the person who absolutely loves the spotlight, the camera, and making sure everyone knows just how successful they are. So you've got this tale of two billionaires, right? On one side, you have that icon, the media star. But on the other, you have someone who could literally brush past you in the grocery store aisle wearing totally normal clothes, and you'd never know they could buy the whole building and maybe the entire block without even blinking. Okay, so now let's pull back the curtain on this other type of billionaire. What's their secret? What's the core philosophy that drives everything they do? And why is it so different from what we're used to seeing? It all boils down to this one simple sentence. Seriously, this is their entire operating system. Wealth grows best where attention is lowest. Now, that isn't just a clever saying. It's the bedrock, the core strategic principle that their empires are built on. So, if they're not chasing fame or likes on social media, what are they after? It's one thing, really: building systems. We're talking about quiet, reliable, and yeah, kind of boring businesses that just work. They're the kind of things that generate cash, day in and day out, almost on autopilot, while everyone else is distracted by the next shiny object. That all sounds great in theory, right? But what do these quiet, system-driven empires actually look like in the real world? Well, the answers might surprise you with just how beautifully and boringly simple they are. Okay, get this. One silent billionaire built his entire fortune on screws. Yep, just simple screws for big manufacturing companies. He didn't invent some flashy new app. He basically cornered the market on a tiny, boring, but absolutely essential part. Every single time a factory tightened a bolt, his bank account grew. Then you've got another one who made billions from garbage. He didn't own a glamorous tech company. He owned the garbage trucks we all see every single morning. Think about it. That's a business that never goes away. No matter what the economy is doing, people always need their trash collected. While everyone else saw a smelly truck, he saw an absolutely unbreakable stream of cash. And how about this one? A third guy got incredibly rich by owning parking lots. Not fancy buildings, not giant malls, just empty space for cars. I mean, that's a masterclass in turning a simple, everyday need into a fortune. It's low maintenance, high volume, and it's a system you can repeat over and over again. So what's the common thread here? The crucial point is that all these unseen empires are built on consistency, not glamour. They thrive in these unsexy industries because, hey, there's less competition. That means bigger profits and steady, predictable growth. They don't need to go viral. They just need to show up and execute, day in and day out. But why? Why is staying out of the spotlight such a huge advantage? What makes being silent so powerful for these billionaires? Well, they get that noise is a huge liability. It attracts competitors who want a piece of your pie, it attracts regulators who just slow things down, and it attracts critics who can hurt your brand. Plus, when the whole world is watching your every move, you can't be nimble. You lose that element of surprise, which is a massive, massive advantage in business. And this brings us to the core lesson, really. You don't need millions of followers. You don't need to be in the headlines to build serious wealth. In fact, a lot of that stuff can actually work against you. Sometimes the most powerful money move you can make is just being quiet. Okay, so how do we take this idea and actually use it? Let's break down how this mindset isn't just for billionaires. We can actually translate this whole philosophy into a practical blueprint that any of us can start thinking about. It really all starts with a huge mindset shift. So instead of focusing on showmanship, you focus on skills. Instead of building for selfies and your public image, you build for systems and real long-term value. It's about shifting from how things look on the outside to how they actually work on the inside. And the path here doesn't require some revolutionary, world-changing idea. It's all about being practical. Start with something small, something you can actually manage. Find a steady market that other people are ignoring because it isn't flashy. And then just focus on solving a boring but necessary problem. You know, the kind of problem where demand is always there and the competition is sleeping. And just remember, real, lasting wealth doesn't need a marching band to announce its arrival. It's built on three simple things: having the patience to let a good system grow, the discipline to actually stick with your plan, and the strategy to play the long game while everyone else is chasing short-term hype. And this, right here, is the key takeaway from all of this. You don't need the world to clap for you. You don't need that validation from the crowd. All you really need is a solid plan that's allowed to compound quietly. So as you go about your week, the question to ask yourself isn't, how can I get noticed? The real question is this: what quiet, boring, overlooked, but totally essential problem can you start solving? What quiet plan will you start building?